I'm a big fan of Ultraman, and you know, I've always tried to come up with my own Ultraman for the mythos. And then I got this idea about Ultraman Heart. You know, his color timer is like a crystal heart, and in the center is the flash point, which changes from the fully charged color to yellow and red. Now I know in the this Tokatsu series, it always goes from green to red. But Ultraman Heart has better energy retention because he's a close quarters fighter. So instead of just going from blue straight to red, it'll go blue, then yellow, then red. And I felt, it makes sense if he was the son of, I think it's Ultraman Leo, who's the close quarters fighter. And Heart's job is he's an ambassador, He's kind of like the monk type, but will fight, when he's different from Cosmos, who is more like a pacifist, Heart has a very, a lot of love for all living beings and stuff, and a special sense of honor, He's basically, a warrior monk, and his whole story is he was, you know, ch- uh, you know, help, helping assist this alien race that the garrison has been helping over the centuries. Well, this alien called Sin-Tech, S-I-N Tech, destroyed the planet, and he feeds off destruction. Every time he destroys these planets or whatever, he feeds on all of that negative energy created from it, and he heads towards Earth. Now, Heart is devastated because this planet is kind of like that was destroyed was his favorite because it was like ancient China, with the Shaolin, well, not too ancient China, but it was like it was basically like a warrior caste, Oh, they had temples and stuff. They had philosophy as well as combat ability and stuff. He felt close to them. So he follows Syntech to Earth. And he's kind of caught up in the rage and stuff of what happened. Because as you know, all Ultramen, each one of them has had different reasons to go to Earth, and some have more, passion than others, and Heart is one of his passion. But this is what stops him from going simply for revenge. He meets Shimato Shoji, who has heart problems and is going to die soon. He's touched by Shimano's love and concern. I mean, this kid is like, he has no negative feelings to him. He's like everything we aspire to, He rarely gets angry, but he also has a strong sense of right and wrong. So, Ultraman Heart fuses himself, symbiotic and stuff. But unlike the older Ultraman where they have the instruments transform, Heart color timer is in Shimato's chest. and it can't be seen by, you know, people. You know, only real pure of heart can see the crystal heart that's on in Shimato's chest. You know, so you know all the adults around here are like, "Whoa, he survived! Wow, you know, he had a bad heart. What happened?" You know, and Ultraman Heart tells him why he saved his life. You know, that he was touched by Shimato's love for all things. You know, and tells him about Syntech and stuff. So Shimato agrees to help Ultraman Heart, you know. And to transform, he puts his hands like this over his heart and goes like that. And and the heart crystal puts the shoulder armor here, you know, his hand, you know, the whole look of Ultraman, you know, the red and white with the red hands with the like a white heart pattern here and heart pattern there. Kind of has that little Muay Thai, you know, or MMA gloved look, you know, and the feet and his legs and feet kind of look like Muay Thai boots, you know, and stuff. Kind of has that Muay Thai or MM warrior look, you know. And you know, since he's a close-in fighter and doesn't use energy attacks, he mostly, you know, charges his fists or his you know, kicks with the attack. For example, there's his heart punch where he goes like this. The energy from the heart goes into his fist, and his fist glows, and he hits the enemy with a straight punch, kind of like the 1-inch punch, and they explode outwards. You know, basically the impact is so powerful it just, you know, shatters them. Like if Goku punched a rock and it just exploded outwards. That's what happens when he hits a monster with his heart punch. Then he has his spark bomber. He jumps up in the air, charges his hands like this, grabs his legs like this, spins, and then when he comes down, he lets go of his legs and goes like this, and drops a devastating double knee strike on the enemy. And it implodes him and causes him to explode out. You know? All of his strikes seem to have that implosion factor where the enemies just implode and blow and then explode. You know? His last technique, which he uses rarely, is called heart attack, you know. He draws all the energy from his crystal heart into his body in a flaming aura, you know, and it's you know, it's covers every inch of him. He then runs towards the enemy, jumps up in the air, and does like a Bruce Lee lounge kick, you know, with the leg pulled, then shoots it forward and hits him right in the chest, and they go boom. The problem is the heart attack drains a whole lot of Ultraman's heart's energy, so he can only do it once, you know, and it delays his ability to switch places with Shimano. So like if another monster attacked like the next morning or the next afternoon, Ultraman Heart would still be too weak to switch places and fight the monster. You know, and Syntech's not the only one he faces, you know. I mean, Syntech's a techno-organic being, you know. So the monster we initially see isn't really him. It's the techno-organic technology. And pieces of him, after Heart beats him, starts fusing with animals in inanimate objects and stuff, like creating monsters. You know, like Michelangelo's thinker becomes, you know, this like Roman gladiator monster, you know, and starts smashing up Japan and shit, you know, using its brute strength. You know, it becomes the opposite of what Michelangelo intended, you know. And Shimada and Ultraman Heart realize they have to destroy every single inch of the Syntech that has invaded all these different objects to be fully rid of his menace. And I had this idea in this one account with a monster, you know, Ultraman Heart's forced to use the heart attack, you know. So for like 2 or 3 days, you know, this new monster shows up and Shimado can't transform. He keeps trying, but he can't transform, you know. And he doesn't know what's wrong, you know. And Ultraman Heart, he's too weak to communicate with Shimado, you know. And Shimado being you know, just graduated from high school, he's not part of the defense force that's, you know, that tries to protect Japan and the world from monsters, you know. He's just an unwitting ally. They don't know that Shimado and Ultraman Heart's the same, you know. And I was thinking of calling the Defense Force AID, Allied Intelligent Defense. You know, they basically they use super science to try and defeat the Syntech, you know. And you know, Shimado happens to date one of the girls who works in AID, you know, and she's like, you know, she's training to become one of the top members of the core group. That's what they call it, the core, you know. And you know, she unwittingly doesn't know that he's given him information that he uses as Ultraman Heart, you know. So after that particular monster, you know, rampaging, Ultraman Heart's too weak and stuff, he tells the girl, you know, his girlfriend, you know, and they get this brainiac who, you know, is very, you know, innocent in like a naive way, and he sees the start, the heart crystal, and, you know, he studies it and he realizes it's slowly, it was severely drained of energy, and it's, you know, very slowly regaining it, you know. In that Ultraman's heart, which means Ultraman Heart's very weak. So he used, so the scientist, so like the head, they call him the architect, you know, he's the brain behind Core, and he uses their solar panel technology that powers their base, and he focuses it into a tense blast into the crystal heart, which fully recharges Ultraman Heart, and Shimado is able to transform into Ultraman Heart, you know. I think it's a pretty cool idea. I thought about Ultraman Heart having a secondary mode, you know. But I don't know what to call it. I mean, Mobius had Brave mode, you know. You know, I suppose Ultraman Heart could have shock mode, you know, or something. I'm sure the Ultraman creators could do a better job. You know, they'd probably think of something that would make sense. But I thought it was a great idea, you know. It's just something I came up with, you know. I have to say, switching subjects, you know, I understand Roman Reigns might turn heel. You know, and I think that's a good idea. And I've always thought, you know, he needs that kind of edge, you know. You know, that'd be awesome, reflecting in his promos that when he was saying it was one versus all, you know, he really meant that he was out for himself, that he doesn't give a damn about the WWE Universe. And I always thought it'd be cool if he calls his spear the Emperor's Wrath, you know. Give that whole aesthetic that he thinks that he's the empire of the WWE Universe, that he's the fucking warrior king, and that he's better than Brock Lesnar and stuff like that, you know. I always thought it'd be cool too if, like, he used Kenta Kobashi's Burning Hammer, maybe calling it Emperor's Reign, you know. Cue to his name and how he sees himself as. So, like, if he's wrestling Daniel Bryan or whatever, he gets him up in that Burning Hammer or the Emperor's Reign and spikes and have the commentary team go, and there goes Roman Reigns showing Dolph Ziggler the Emperor's Reign. You know, and when he hits the spear, they're like, oh, Eric Rowan just faced Roman's wrath, or the Emperor's Wrath. You know, I think it'd be a good fit for him, depicting him as a modern day warrior king, you know, kind of Conan-esque. You know, especially when he kind of his promos going, and you know, I've always said it's one versus all. I'm the one. You're the all. None of you are on my level. None of you are. Not even my cousin The Rock is on my level. I'm stronger than him. I'm better than him. I'm younger than him. You know, that's the kind of edge he needs to turn around the whole Royal Rumble thing, you know. Because to me, I don't know how Roman Reigns feels, but to me, from what I've seen of him and stuff, to me that fits his character. I think he'd be a great monster heel. I mean, imagine, picture they do an interview talking about, you know, where Daniel Bryan, and if Daniel was the one that won that match to face Reigns at Fastlane, imagine them, you know, having an interview, and Reigns says these comments that are really neutral, really don't give people an idea of what he's thinking, like if Michael Cole or Jerry Lawler's doing it, it's like, hey, Roman, what do you think about the fact that the authority's forcing you to face Daniel Bryan at Fastlane? And Roman says something like, I've always said it's one versus all. And Bryan, I think he understands that. Then they talk to Bryan. Bryan says, you know, whatever he's gonna say. He, like, you know, maybe Bryan says, you know, these maybe I don't know if Brian likes Roman or not, but if he does, be like, you know, I have a lot of respect for you. You have a lot of talent. You're, young. You're strong. You're resilient. I'm gonna, enjoy wrestling you. And then they go to Roman, and Roman's like, they ask Roman, how does he feel? And Roman says to the effect, it is what it is, And Brian, he's, having to be a little oblivious to it, thinking, no, this is going to be good sportsmanship stuff. And he goes over and he reaches out his hand to shake Roman's hand. And Roman looks like this, and, looks around, but he has that cool, cocky look that he seems to always have on his face, And he shakes Brian's hand, and Brian goes over the other side, doing his yes thing, and Roman, he comes over to the other side of the ring. He puts his arms on the top rope, and he's going like this, thumb across his chin. And Brian goes to turn around, and Reigns just explodes from that side of the ring and spears him. And after hitting the spear, he's quick to get out of the ring, go back up the entrance ramp, and have Jerry be like, befuddled, totally fucking shocked that Roman did that, and that he's now walking back up the ramp. And Jerry goes over there, worried about Brian. And he looking up as Roman's going up the ramp with the back to Jerry. He's like, why did, trying to say, why did you do it, And instead of interviewing Roman after he does that, instead have a couple of matches, go into the matches, keep them for the show to go, and have, Jerry Lawler and, whoever's on commentary is like, what just happened? Why did Roman do that? He gave no implication that there was something wrong, and then he just speared Daniel Bryan with the most sense-shattering spear we've seen out of him, And then, they talk about the matches stuff, and then, after 2 or 3 matches, we see Bryan in the back, and John Cena and the Bella Twins and Dolph Ziggler and others are checking on him. He's getting his ribs taped up, he's they're asking him if he's all right, and Cena's like, what going through Roman's mind? Why did he do that? And he doesn't know what to say, And as you get toward the end of the show, you see Roman leaving the arena, and one of the announcers in the back, or the interviewers in the back, they stop Roman before he goes out, and they were like, why? Why? What reason did you have to spear Daniel Bryan like you did? And Roman's like, I've always said it's one versus all. I just never said who was the one and who's the all. And then he leans a little closer to the camera and he said, I'm the one. The 1%. Get ready for a change, WWE Universe. That would be so cool. Especially with the cool voice he has and look. Just in my opinion, I think that would, people would be talking about it and stuff like that. I think it would just blow the roof off the place, I think people would be fucking stunned if they saw Roman Reigns being calm and cool and seemingly, okay with things, and then just out of nowhere he spears Bryan, and then they're wondering why he's not blaming the authority, and then like SmackDown or whatever, he's like, he comes out because whoever, Booker T or whatever wants to talk with him, and they're like, why do you did it? The authority's the one who given this opportunity to take away your WrestleMania shot, and he's looking smugly around. He's like, unlike Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, and this stupid Yes movement, the WWE Universe, I don't go around and whine when I lose. I won the Royal Rumble. I beat two of the biggest men in the WWE. I'm the one who threw them out. Me. The Rock didn't do it, I did it. And because he did, Remember, Rock didn't come out until until after the Royal Rumble was seemingly over, and then Big Show and Kane came back in, and nobody knew Russo was under the ring. So that was all right, So him bragging about that, and then he points to WWE Universe. He said, when I said I'm the one versus the all, I wasn't just talking about the authority. I wasn't just talking about whoever my opponent is. I was talking about all of you. You're all jealous of the family I come from, my athletic background, my power, my resilience, my strength. Everyone this company's put in front of me, I put them down with the spear or with this big fist, and talk about the age of the beast incarnate's over. Now is the age of the Roman Emperor. I think that would just be so cool because he's got the voice for it, I think. I'm not a WWE wrestling writer, but I'm a big fan. I've listened to Jim Cornette and all of them talk about how it's the psychology and stuff. I think it would fit Roman. That's just my opinion, but I just think it'd be really cool. Especially if, like, Fastlane, he busts out the burning hammer and nails Bryan with it. Like, ooh, there's the Emperor's Wrath or Emperor's Reign or whatever they call it, Just spiked Bryan and Bryan's out and 1, 2, 3, instead of using the spear and the Superman punch, he surprises Bryan by getting him into that backbreaker rack and into the the burning hammer. I just think it'd be cool. That's my opinion, and I think I've wasted enough of you guys' time, so thanks for listening. Bye bye.